The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Keith Once Upon a Time Thurman. He says that he wasn't 100% in the fight with Manny Pacquiao. I'm going to share this screen. In a quote, there were a lot of variables, said Thurman to Pep Talk UK. The number one thing that I blame is my weight control. When it comes to self-discipline, I failed at that. My hand was a little bit of an issue as well. I had to cut sparring short many times. My preparation and where I was at in my sparring, I was not happy. Normally, I'm turning it up on my sparring partners, but I was just not at a certain level. It was just a rough year for me. I can admit that. I just wasn't 100%. Then Thurman went on to say, the fight wasn't lost in the first round, explained Thurman. The fight was lost somewhere around the 10th. I kind of saw the fight as a draw with 2 rounds to go, and that's where I lost the fight. I believe that if I would have pushed and convinced myself that I needed a knockdown, that maybe it would have led to something other than a 1-point decision in his favor. So that's what Keith Thurman said. Said weight control issues with his hand. He wasn't able to spar and turn it up, and it was a rough year for him. Trill, what are your thoughts on Keith Thurman's what he said? Is it an excuse or is it an explanation, and are you buying it?
What are you doing, Keith? You know better than that, Keith. Something's getting wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong in the water or something. No fighter is 100% going into a fight. Every fighter got something wrong with them. That a little, like their arm and the hand is hurting, or their shoulder is something. Every fighter always has something wrong with them. You don't think Manny Pacquiao, how old he is, all the wars he had, you don't think that he had some problems in camp? But he still came out here and he put on a good fight. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You lost. But just say you lost and you're going to get him the next one. Or the excuses just make you look bad. The excuses just make you, because Manny Pacquiao was hurt too. And he's older. You know what I'm saying? So these excuses is falling on deaf ears to me. Stop making excuses and get in the gym. Shouldn't have took the fight.
All right, Ned?
Yeah, I agree with Trez. Yo, it's just excuses, and it's bad. It's at this point, like, we don't even want to hear this, man. The fight happened so long ago. Just take it, get back in the ring, take the loss, get back in the ring, train, and prove yourself again, you know? But all these excuses just makes me lose respect for the fighter. I don't buy it. I don't like it. You stop taking pages out of Wilder's book, you know? Period.
G.
I'm looking at it from a slightly different angle from Ned and Trill.
LBBC?
Anyways, first and foremost, I'll say this. Although Keith lost, right? Because I had my scorecard was 115, 112 for me. Yo, Keith had a hell of a fight. It was actually a great fight from both gentlemen. And so when Caden just read what he was saying, right? I agree with you guys. He shouldn't have said that because it comes off as excuses. But the way I took it, it wasn't necessarily excuses. He was explaining his mindset during the fight. And so I could somewhat give him a pass. Where it did come off as kind of like an excuse was talking about he didn't come into the fight 100%. But it's like, no, duh. And not to mention, we all knew he was inactive for a long time. You know, we knew he was recovering from like an elbow injury or something like that. So it kind of goes without saying, like, bro, we know that about you, you know. But when he was talking about how, you know, he didn't feel like the fight was over in the first, but more in the later rounds, he should have told himself to go for the knockout, or at least a knockdown to make it more in his favor. Like, I just think those are, like, reasons. That's, like, self-reflection, you know, like, after you lose and you're looking back at it, like, yeah, I should have did this, but I didn't. I don't think it's, like, in what Ned's implying when he said, like, a Wilder excuse. I don't view it as a Wilder excuse. It literally just sounds like he's really explaining where he messed up. And so because of that, you know, I'm not gonna hold him to the same, I guess, punishment or scrutiny as Wilder.
Oh, you definitely can't do that.
Yeah, but that's what it seemed like, you know, especially what Ned just said, you know, like, and I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, like, it seems like sincere self-reflection. It doesn't seem like he's coming up with excuses on his L. It's more about like, damn, yeah, you know what? I should have went for the knockdown more, you know, and stuff like that. So I could give him a pass on this because I feel like he's articulate enough to, even if he was coming with an excuse, he's articulate enough to paint it in a picture where it's not an excuse. Like, while if
Yeah, I get what you're saying, G. It's not a Wilder excuse, and it's not like a big old, like, you know, my suit was too heavy, my sneakers was like that. No, I get what you're saying, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that him even mentioning, like, oh, I wasn't 100% for that fight.
Yeah, I wish he didn't say that either.
I wish he didn't say that either.
His whole
I
argument.
agree. I'm with you. I wish he didn't say that either. Everything else was cool. Like, oh, I wish I would have went for the knockout and all that. That's cool. That's great. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have did this, that, and the third in the fight. But once you say, oh, I wasn't 100% and my elbow was this, then after the fight what you had with what's my man? Not Leo said. What's my name that he had with the Riverside Rocky?
Jose Cito.
Yeah, you had that fight with him. You had a chance to dust off those cobwebs. You know what I'm saying? Those were the cobwebs before the Manny Pacquiao fight. So if you didn't feel and you wasn't 100%, then you shouldn't have took that fight. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But I do agree with you. I do like how he mentioned, like, this is how, and I wish I would have did this and that. But once he said he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Trill's saying. That's the only issue I have with his statement.
But it's not a Wilder excuse, though.
I'm just saying,
Wilder made history with these excuses.
Yes.
He is in the world's Guinness Book of World Records with his excuses.
He done made excuses that contradict one another. He made conflicting statements. He's done everything, man, with those excuses. For me, Keith Thurman's a very interesting case because I remember, like, he had this one dude, G remembers, that was just like a straight up fanboy for Thurman, like
worse than Ned with AJ.
Yeah, like worse than Ned with AJ, Earl Spence, and Canelo. Like, it was just bad. And so, like, we used to look at this dude, and I used to tell him, like, yo, you know, there's so many guys who could beat him. Like, I told him Earl Spence would beat him back then, and he was like, oh, I told him Terrence Crawford to beat him back then. Before people even knew who TC was, by the way. For everyone who like acts like, you know, someone has an issue with TC. But anyway, Keith Thurman, to me.
You love TC, by the way.
Yes. Keith Thurman, to me, is a symbol of something that I see very often in boxing. And it's called self-sabotage. Like, these fighters will have talent, skill, and the potential to have great careers, and they ruin it themselves. Many people in different ways. See, Keith Thurman self-sabotage didn't look like the fighter who's out partying, drinking, and doing all types of crazy things, right? But whatever he did, he said this. He said he had problems with his weight in that quote. Now, you're a boxer. You're a fighter in a weight division. You're the 147-pound champ. How could you have weight problems? Like, how? You see, he doesn't need to be out drinking. He doesn't need to be out partying. He doesn't need to be out. But whatever he was doing, he wasn't managing his weight. So to me, that tells me if you're not managing your weight, were you even training during that time? Remember, he had just got married, all types of things. And so I'm not here to say, like, not enjoy life or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is there was a lack of discipline. And if you lost due to your own lack of discipline, then that's your fault, right? So you have so many guys who lose due to lack of discipline, who can't maintain their weight. Andy Ruiz couldn't maintain his weight. We just got on Andy Ruiz about that. And he came in and he was overweight. Now, so you want to use that as an excuse. Then you say you hurt your hand and you couldn't spar the way you wanted to. But you still chose to fight. And for me, something that's crazy is I remember just the night of the fight, wasn't Thurman eating like pancakes or something like that on TV? I know he was eating something bad. You didn't take the guy serious. You walking around overweight. I don't know. A lot of people suspect that Thurman lost his love for the sport.
Yo, even Adrian Broner put him out there. Adrian Broner put him out there like he was walking through the casino and he's gambling, and who he see at night gambling. He see Keith Thurman at the tables, and he was saying all the people around you are some bees.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm saying? Because he got the biggest fight of his life, and he's down here at 2:00 in the morning gambling with me. You know what I'm saying? He got cooked.
But it's true. Self-sabotage is what I'm saying. So it's easy to look back. Yo, trust me, a lot of people look back on their life and they say, yo, I wish I would have made this decision. I wish I would have made that decision. I wish I would have made this decision. But you know, the saying is too bad youth is wasted on the young. That's what they're talking about. Because in the moment where it mattered for you to make the decision, you made the wrong one. And then when you're older, you realize that you made the wrong one, but it's too late. Because you can't go back into the past. That's why I say it's too bad youth is wasted on the young. See, now he's looking back and he's realizing all the mistakes he made, but guess what? Too late. And you fought the old man, so he already knew. So Pacquiao already knew.
Yeah.
You know, and don't underestimate the fact that Pacquiao's still in the game, Pacquiao's still, and don't underestimate the fact that when it's all said and done, Keith Thurman, you may have just thought you were God's gift to boxing.
Like you ran into the legend.
Yeah, like all these other dudes think you're God's gift to boxing, so you don't gotta train, you don't gotta do this, you don't gotta do that, you can just do this. It's all gonna come out in the ring. It's all gonna come out in the ring. And when it does,
go ahead, finish.
Yeah, no, you're right. And when it does, all you can do is just suck it up and try to be better next time. Just do that.
No excuses.
No excuses, exactly. So that's it for me. That's all I gotta say.
Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And you can also check out all our videos on YouTube. This is Trill, Caden, Ned, and G. We are the Boxer Bros.
Yeah.
We been the feeling like